y'all. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Home Buyers Clubhouse. Come on in, have a seat, sit down on the couch. My name is Jessie Lynn. I am a North Carolina Triangle Realtor Broker. We're going to get it right with A to C Realty. Miss Erica Batts, introduce yourself, honey.
Hey, I am Erica Batts. I am your mortgage loan officer with New American Funding.
And Miss Nicole.
I am Nicole Crawford. I'm a realtor with Keller Williams Realty Service in the Greensboro Triad area.
Yes. Everybody, it's Friday. It's our holiday. Miss Erica says she got some tea, y'all. I always want to know tea, before we get into our topic. I like tea. I like coffee, but I love tea, honey. So just tell me your tea, sweetie.
Well, they are forgiving some student loans. I know a lot of people have been looking for some student loan information and how to forgive that. So they're forgiving about $7 billion in student loans for about 250,000 people. If you went to some of these schools like University of Phoenix, the Art Institute, Miller Mott, it's a whole list of colleges, and we're going to post it in the group. So if you went to some of those schools, you might be eligible for some student loan debt cancellation.
Yes. Y'all hear that? Yes, that's so awesome because everybody's been waiting on it.
Yes.
I know it's because what they kind of misled some people a while back thinking they get student debt forgiveness. So y'all actually about to get it this time. So
some of those Capella universities, all those schools that they were advertising on TV, and some of those all kinds of schools, but it's a lot of schools on the list. So a lot of people, like they said, about 250,000 people should get a little bit of relief. So
that's so awesome. Samantha just came into the studio. That's so awesome. Today, you guys, this month is National Home Ownership Month. And today we are wrapping up our final week. You found your house. You like your house. You've been pre-approved, which is the hard part. You fixed your credit. You've done all the hard work. And you house shopping right now. You found your house. You like your house. You love your house. What's the next step?
I don't know. I think I mean, I've seen you got a few people under contract and all that. So we ready.
Nicole, what's the next step, girl? Tell me the next step, honey.
Oh, Jesus. Also, are we under contract?
No, we're not under contract yet.
Okay. Oh. So if we found that house that we love, we're going to make an offer.
Yes. We are about to make an offer. Yeah. So that's what we're talking about today, you guys, because a lot of people, they don't understand what goes on once they find that house. They just know they're looking and all that other stuff. But let's just talk about some stuff, while we're looking at those houses and some things that kind of goes in the contract. And let's talk about why you need to save all of that money. Why we always say save. We made that like the first step of the home buying process. Save. And then you need to work on your credit or do both of them at the same time. So we're going to talk about that today. All right. So you found your house. Let's talk about some things that come with the house. All right, you guys, what are some things that's in that contract that comes with that property? I mean, that doesn't come with the property because, almost everything pretty much comes with it. Let's talk about that. Anybody want to take it?
So a lot of people, their appliances don't, I will say this. The refrigerator is personal property, so it is not automatically part of your contract.
Yes.
Absolutely.
What's something else? Go on.
What about a microwave?
If it's permanently attached.
I was gonna say if it's not attached, like a microwave just sitting on a counter. Does that
definitely? Washer and dryer does not come with it, but they're all negotiable. I had someone just not too long. My client was about to walk away because she couldn't get that fridge. So sometimes you have to just kind of look. I'll let you know up front. The fridge don't come. It doesn't come, but it's negotiable. Negotiable does not mean that you can get it. That because you put it in the contract that the seller is gonna agree with it. It's a really nice fridge though, or whatever. But yeah, she said, "I want my fridge. I want the fridge." She got it. But I was just saying, she was like, because the seller was like, "No," but yeah. She got the fridge, but it doesn't come with the property, you guys. So the fridge doesn't come like standard stuff you think that comes. The fridge, the washer, and the dryer does not come. The range does. Okay. So let's talk about the money and whenever you make your offer on the property. So what's the first thing we do when a client find that house, Nicole, and they say they want to make an offer on the property? Do we go with the number that's currently listed, the list price? How do we determine what we offer on a property?
So the first thing we do is we do run comparables to see what's selling in that community to be able to determine what our offer should be. Mm-hmm. And in this market, we use that as our gauge of what's a good offer, how far we can go over before we're really getting into some red territory that we may not appraise. So that's kind of our gauge on what we should be putting our offer in on.
Yes. So, and like she said, we got to determine if it's going to appraise, because if the property doesn't appraise, who's going to pay for that property? The difference. That's a lender question. Lender. So if I made an offer on the property and the property doesn't appraise, who's going to pay for that?
Then you will be making you'll be paying for that difference. So, but now sometimes it's not the entire difference. So there's sometimes you can do other things to, so that you're not having to come out with the full $5,000 that it didn't appraise for. So that's a conversation to have. But yes, it's definitely coming out of your pocket.
And Nicole, what's another option if the property doesn't appraise?
In the good old days, we would always negotiate that difference. We would always go back and ask the seller to see what the seller is willing to do. And sometimes they've been great at coming down to the appraised price. In this market, we're still seeing sellers to understand where we are and being able to split the difference with us. So it doesn't always have to fall back on the client, but on some instances, it has felt, we have to take accountability for what that difference is.
I've had a client that had to pay a lot of money because the seller said it was a bad appraisal and they refused, but the clients wanted to house. So Erica said that you would have to pay the difference. Nicole, definitely we have to negotiate. That's two different options. So let's say if you don't have the money to pay the difference, Samantha, what happens?
Sometimes they want to do a Tidewater. That's what happened for me.
They have to do what?
A Tidewater.
Oh yeah, that comes up in different situations. So explain what a Tidewater is if that does come up. But it's another option that I was looking for. But explain what a Tidewater is.
A Tidewater is usually when your real estate agent helps the appraiser find additional properties that may help increase your value of the home that you're looking to purchase. It takes a couple of days for the most part, and you may not always win. So they may appraise it at the same value that they told you it was before.
So
now those are usually on VA loans.
Thank you. Took it up there you go. Yeah. Yes. So I wanted to clear that up because I don't want people coming in and saying, okay, well, can I get a Tidewater? So yeah. Yeah. All right. So if all of your options are done, if you can't pay the difference, if the seller is not willing to negotiate and you don't have the money, what's your next option? Walk away, right?
That's all you can always walk away.
You can always walk away.
Process, but
all right. So you found your house, you like your house, you love your house. We're writing the contract. Nicole is going to pull your comps for you. Your realtor, they're going to pull your comps for you. You're going to decide on the price. If the price, okay, so you're going to decide on the price. The next step is we're going to talk about your due diligence money and your earnest money. Your due diligence money, I like to call it a deposit. All right, let's talk about that. You guys probably hear about that a lot. So anybody want to tell them what a due diligence deposit is?
I'm going to let Nicole take that one. Yes, Nicole.
I was waiting for it.
I was like, Nicole.
Well, our due diligence deposit is the money that we offer the seller, and that check is written to the seller for them to take their house off the market. You get to do your due diligence on the property, meaning you are paying for the period of time to do your inspections, get your home mortgage loan, anything and everything you want to do. And like I tell my clients, if you want to sit there for that time period, you can, but we're asking you to do everything you need to do to make sure you're making a good decision on whether or not you're going to move forward with the house.
Definitely. And that deposit that you make on that property, do you get that money back if you change your mind and if you back out?
If you change your mind and back out, that money now belongs to the seller, because we remember we wrote the check to the seller. So if you back out, it now belongs to them. If you decide to move forward and purchase your house, that money is credited back to you at closing.
All right. So now let's talk about another deposit that you guys have to pay whenever you purchase your home. And we like to call this your due diligence deposit is saying, hey, Mr. Seller, I am going to pay you some money to take your property off the market while I do these inspections, get these appraisals done and all of that. So there's another deposit, and I like to call this the engagement ring. You have taken that person off the market with the due diligence money. Now, the earnest money is the engagement ring to let them know that you're really serious. Let's talk about that. What's an earnest money deposit, Nicole?
That earnest money deposit is, I like to call it our second wave of money. That's that extra deposit we're putting that actually covers you after your due diligence period is up. That earnest money is going to cover that period of time up until closing. So, okay, we got through the due diligence period. You decided you wanted to move forward, but for some reason, after we get through that little period of time, you decided you wanted to walk away. That now your earnest money is on the line to be forfeited, because now your due diligence money is up and your earnest money is on the line. So just remember, it's almost like that second thing was saying, I really truly want this house, but it gives you a second deadline also.
Definitely. Erica, who's that asking that question?
That is Jamal Byfield.
All right. Jamal want to know, is that still the case if the deposit is in escrow? All right. So the due diligence deposit does not go in escrow. That goes directly to the seller. Your earnest money deposit goes to escrow. The closing attorney gets that deposit. Does that answer your question? You said that was who, Jamal?
Yes.
Jamal, does that answer your question? But yeah, that goes in escrow.
And it does go back to you. If you terminate that contract before that due diligence period is up, your earnest money becomes yours again. But if you mess up and miss that deadline, you are forfeiting all your money to the seller at that point.
He said yes. That answers his question. Great. Awesome. All right. So your two different deposits. One goes to the seller. The other one goes to your escrow agent, which is normally the closing attorney. They hold on to that. And you get to get that money back if you back out before the end of your due diligence period. And we're talking about your earnest money here. Okay. Y'all have any questions so far? Anybody else have any questions before we move on? No questions. Okay. All right. So now we are under contract. Let's say we are under contract. Let's talk about inspections and how much these things are going to cost. Your closing costs, all of your inspections and all of that. Let's talk about that. All right. So are we going to talk about closing costs or inspections first? Let's talk about your inspections and your appraisals. Okay. Let's talk about that. So once you are under contract, you're going to order your inspections. That's the first. You're going to order all of your inspections, your property inspections, your radon inspections, your termite inspections. We're going to order those. Somebody give me about an estimate on these three different types of inspections. Oh, wait, let's go back. Your due diligence deposits and your earnest money deposit. That's we recommend around 1% to 3%. The market got pretty crazy last year. This year it's around 1% to 5%, but I see a little shift. But just kind of keep in mind about 1% to 3% each for each deposit. Each deposit, okay? And it just depends on your market. Okay, we got that? All right. Anybody want to talk about some fees for the appraisals, the inspections around?
I'll do appraisals.
Okay.
Appraisals are about $700, between $650 and $750 typically for the market that I'm in. I've seen them to go about $800 for the initial inspection, about $125 to $175 for a final inspection if you need one of those. And they're typically paid outside of closing, so you'll pay up front. That's how that typically works for me. I don't know if the same thing goes for Erica.
It does.
Yes. Okay. That's another fee you have to pay out of pocket.
All right. So Nicole, if you want to explain the property inspections, but look, clients, audience, let's talk about this, because my client, we had this conversation the other day. They're getting a new construction property. So they're doing like 2 levels of an appraisal or whatever. It's a difference between a property inspection and an appraisal. And I'll let Nicole explain that to you as well, or Erica can explain what happens during the appraisal, and Nicole can explain what happens during the property inspection. All right, Nicole.
We get this a lot because people are all of a sudden forget what we talked about when we first did a buyer's consultation, but the property inspection and your appraisal are two different things. Your home inspector is looking for repair needs. He's going through the house looking for things that need to be repaired so that he can prepare a list of things for you. That appraisal is looking for value.
Right. So your inspection tells you what's wrong with the house. The appraisal tells you what the house is worth.
Absolutely.
Definitely. So what happens with the property is what's about a price range for a property inspection? I got a range on that.
In my market, I'm seeing and it's always based off the age of the home and the size. So I can see anywhere from $350 up to $800, depending on what the size and the age of the home is. The older the home is, it usually is going to cost you more because, of course, they have more to do because usually there's more repairs.
Awesome. And Erica, so do you want to break down what an appraisal is, or are we good with the value?
Well, basically just what it is. It's the value. So they're compared against other things that have sold in the neighborhood or within the vicinity.
But wait. Didn't the realtor give them the value on the property already?
No, they gave them the comps, but they can't tell you what's inside the bones to the house. So they can tell you whether, okay, does the bathtub in this house, does it offer any value? Because what you can tell them as a realtor is that other house has 4 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms, but it didn't tell you that it's got jacuzzi tubs, it's got this, that, all of those things that they assign value to.
Yeah, as a real estate agent, we're not allowed to put value on a property. We can give you a range based on what's selling in the area. We compare apples to apples. We look at the condition, the style, and all of that, but we're still not an appraiser. So we give you a range. The appraiser give you an actual value on the property.
Absolutely.
So that's the difference. All right. So there are a ton of inspections you have to get: property inspection, radon inspection, your termite inspection. And then if the property inspector find anything, they will recommend some other people to come out and take a look at the property. This is when you decide that, hey, look, I want to negotiate. You want to do your negotiations with the seller around this time. So you don't have to back out. You don't have to walk away. And there are some minor things that we may see a lot. You may see a leaky faucet. You may see some issues with the windows. Don't let these things scare you because they're common, especially depending on the age of the property. The major things are like foundation issues and all of that. But again, I can't tell you what to do in that situation. I can't say, look, I think you should live there. I can't tell you that. The inspector, they're going to choose some things. We can give you some recommendations, but it's going to be up to you at the end of the day to decide on if you're going to stay there or not, if you're going to get that property. Any more feedback? Y'all good on that? All right.
Get on that.
So we've negotiated with the seller. We've done the seller negotiations or whatever. Again, if there are issues, you can negotiate with the seller. Have your agent negotiate. This is one thing I want you guys to understand. Be honest with your agent on what you're willing to do, what you can do, and all of that. We're going into your closing costs right now, okay? And you need to tell your agent and your lender, this is how much money I have. If your lender tell you got to pay $23,000 down, don't go all the way to closing and say I ain't got it. Let them know up front. And this is what happened the other day. I had a client, and I luckily I had the sheet. I'm like talking to him. I said, okay, cool. Your lender approved you for this amount or whatever. This is how much you're going to have to pay in closing or whatever, etc. Do you have this? And he was like, no. Luckily, I said, you need to call your lender right now. We just went under contract. You need to call your lender right now. Ooh. The lender gave them a grant. Instead of him having to bring $4,000 to closing, all he had to bring to closing was $500. This is why it's important to do it early, you guys. You got to do it early. Do it early because last minute stuff we can't really fix, but you need to be honest up front.
I would say I definitely want to speak on that one as far as this is a partnership between your realtor, your lender, and you as a buyer. And we need to be informed of anything that you have going on, money wise, whatever. If you lost your job the day before, don't try to hide it because we're gonna find out. all of those things. We definitely want to be, and what I tell people, don't make any money moves without letting me know. So, and I've had people call and say, they need to check my credit to turn the lights on. Is that okay? Yes, that's okay. But I appreciate that you asked, because I've had other people that didn't check for other things. And like I said, I think I've told the story of the lady with the furniture and no place to put it because her house fell through because she went out and purchased furniture.
You really, really need to be honest and transparent. I'm telling you, y'all trying to hide stuff from us because you are ashamed. Don't be ashamed. We've all been there. We've been there and probably been through some worse stuff. So you need to be honest. Be honest, be transparent. We can't help you if we don't know. We are a team, like Erica said.
I agree with that. If you spent the money, let us know. If you spent it, let us know that too.
All right, you guys. So after you've gone through your due diligence period, your 3 weeks are up. Your due diligence period is around 3 weeks. It used to be 2, but now it takes forever to get everything done. So 3 weeks, estimate or whatever. But you get to choose those days. It's negotiable or whatever. All right, Erica, we almost in closing 45 days later. And Samantha, we have closing costs. Give us an estimate of closing costs and the different types of situations and scenarios.
I would say closing costs range between 3 to 5% of the loan. You can shop for your homeowner's insurance. So that's a rate that fluctuates based on whichever one you get. Your title company, the closing attorney, that's something you can shop for as well. But as far as like the pricing depends on what you have or how much you need an escrow or prepaids. And then we have an application fee and a couple other fees that'll be in there that you have to pay for. So I would say range between 3 to 5%. And you have to consider the type of house you have, how much escrows you need, or homeowners insurance. So that's my deal on homeowners. On closing costs. Erica may have a little bit more input on that.
I will say definitely when you get your initial estimate, look and see what the closing costs are, and go ahead and start to do those negotiations with, finding an attorney, finding the things that you can shop for, because those things can make a difference. You can find a, $1,500 attorney, or you can find a $500 attorney. So that can definitely be a difference when you are doing those shoppings. And just make sure that that's something that you consider, because I can give you a great rate, but I'm charging you $8,000 in closing costs. But then Samantha, her rate isn't as good, but then her closing costs are half. So that is definitely something that you want to consider.
That's good advice. All right. Y'all got anything else y'all want to add? All right. So you are clear to close. Congratulations. You got your clear to close. This means that you've gone through underwriting. Your lender, they've done your FBI background check. It's not background check, but they've done
fraud report. Cavers.
Yeah. I will say no. You're not out of the woods yet. Even though you got a clear to close, you are not out of the woods. So don't
seriously though, explain what underwriting is, because some people don't understand. They will blame everybody else besides themselves on why some issues came up in underwriting. Explain what happens during underwriting.
That means they do a deep dive on your file. So they're looking at, okay, does your income, even though you gave me a paycheck stub that says XYZ, that you work 60 hours a week, but those are the only 2 paychecks you had that you worked 60 hours. So they're doing a deep dive into your income, all of the documents that you have provided. So they're looking at your bank statements that you've provided to see, even though you didn't tell us about this IRS debt that you have, I can see that, they're looking at it and they can see that it comes out of your account. So that's not something that they accounted for. So now that may be an issue. So they're looking for all of those things in your file to make sure that this loan is clean when we get it, at the end of the day.
Are they calling landlords? Are they calling your job? Are they doing all this stuff behind your back?
They're not doing it behind your back. They're doing that behind your back. So yes, they are checking your verification of employment. If you quit your job the day before closing, no, we're not going to give you $100,000 and you don't have a job.
Y'all better deal with that boss. Y'all, I'm telling you, I've had a client that's been under contract on a new construction property for over a year. And he's like, yo, Jesse, I'm so sick of this job. I just can't take it. Look, I'm telling you, you better stick it out. That's all I got to tell you. Stick it out.
See, and a lot of people get those keys. Like a lot of people just feel like, oh, well, but I can pay my rent. So I don't understand why y'all giving me all these questions on underwriting. So if y'all been around since 2008, that's one of the reasons that the housing market crashed at that point, is because people were not doing due diligence. That's why the rules changed. And now, yes, we have to make sure that this house is affordable for you.
Yes. Also, in underwriting, they do check for like large deposits and withdrawals as well. So that's one of the sticklers that would throw somebody out of underwriting. You started transferring a bunch of money back and forth. Please don't do that. It only creates additional paperwork, and then it may delay your closing. So that's just all my little tidbit on that. Do not do it. Don't cash app folks and all this other stuff.
That part.
And send them every page. If it says one of two and the last page is blank, you send them that blank page because they're gonna ask for it.
Right.
Correct.
And try to make sure that you get your stuff. So when we ask you for stuff, that's stuff that we need. So if you are then taking a week to get us what we asked for, then that's a week longer to delay your closing. We try to get you closed in 30 days or less. So, but help me help you.
Exactly. Teamwork makes the dream work. All right, audience, do y'all have any questions? Nicole, you want to add anything? Did we miss anything, y'all? On the real side? Oh, we got to do that final walkthrough. What happens with the final walkthrough, Nicole?
Okay, so on the final walkthrough, we're basically walking the property again to make sure it's in the same or better condition than it was when we first looked at the house. When we've been back in for the inspections, I've done a final walkthrough and opened the door and heard water running. And yeah, somebody left the bathroom faucet running. So you want to make sure that you're getting a great property, that the property that you fell in love with is the same property, that everything that you negotiated doing that contract is still there. You want to make sure that refrigerator wasn't taken. If the Nest thermostat is still there. So those are the type things that we're looking for.
So that's a great question. Who's that, Erica? That's an awesome question right there. Nicole. Who? Same person. Yes. They want to know what happens if there are issues during the final walkthrough, and it's the closing the following day.
It could be. Sometimes we wait and do our final walkthroughs the day of closing. I like to do the day before for that reason. If there are issues, we can delay closing. I've had it delayed for that reason. The one that we walked in where the faucet was still running, unfortunately, we had to terminate because the damage that was done, it had been running for probably a week. The damage that was done downstairs could not be fixed in that amount of time. So my buyer decided to walk and was refunded every dollar we paid in. So we can delay closing to get things paid. To get things repaired, or you can do addendums to make sure the seller fixes or returns whatever needs to be done, and you can move forward to closing. It's one of those decisions that's on the buyer at that point.
All right. Did they answer your question? All right. We have another question. Same person?
Yep.
All right. What if you are in a program where the underwriting was done up front? That's a good question, actually. Yes. Is the underwriting process still as lengthy? I love this question. As lengthy, or are you just continuing to submit statements and pay stubs? And lenders, y'all want to take this one?
I will say if it's done up front, it doesn't take as long, but we still have to re-verify things. So just like I can pre-approve you, let's say I approved you last month in May, but now you've gotten additional paycheck stubs, you've gotten additional bank statements. So all of that information still has to be provided. So your updated statements, because we do need the most up-to-date statements so we can make sure that we have the complete picture. So, but it's not as bad if you, I don't want to say bad, but it's not as much if you have it done up front, because that means they've already looked at your preliminary paperwork and determined that you are qualified.
Yeah, I've seen some lenders can close as soon as 10 days whenever they do the underwriting up front. So yes, that's a great great question, actually. Really great
and
question.
a great option too, because a lot of people, especially in this market that we're transitioning out of, that was a great thing to have done, is to have yourself go through underwriting before, because then we take a little bit of the guessing out. A lot of people will continue asking me, am I out the woods yet? Are you out the woods yet? And my answer is not until we sign. and they say it's recorded. That's when we gonna breathe easier. But if we do underwriting up front, it does take a little bit of that sting out of the whole process, because you've done all that hard part up front and we're just re-verifying.
Yeah, so you're not left wondering, oh, is my income going to be enough? Is this going to be, so we've already done that. We've already verified your employment. We know that you were working at the time we pre-approved you. We do have to do it again, and we do it, the day of closing sometimes, or the day before closing. So it has to be done within 24 hours of your closing time. We have to verify employment again.
Yeah. And they looked at your income and looked at the fact that you, even though you're W-2, you're still taking deductions on your tax returns.
Right.
Yes. That's a great question. Audience, do you guys have any more questions before we go? So we're on the final walkthrough. I love the question about if we find any issues. That's a great question, because that's why we do it the day before. I wouldn't recommend it doing no more than 24 hours before the day before, because you could do this walkthrough 2 days early and then the house burned down, or it floods like Nicole did, or it floods after your walkthrough. So yes. Oh, thank you so much. That's why we here. We try. Thank you so much. Audience, if you guys don't have any more questions, if you do have any questions, feel free to inbox us, drop them in the group. We'll respond as soon as we get them. All right, y'all ladies, oh wait, let's talk about it. Closing day.
I was gonna say, you got closing day.
We did all this for what? Closing day. Who want to talk about closing day? What happens on closing day?
Ooh, you get sign a lot.
Yes, you do a lot of signing, unless you pay cash.
Because you might not get your keys that day. It depends on when you record. So signing day.
So you unless you're paying cash, if you're paying cash, you don't even have to show up to closing, you guys. You just sign electronically a piece of paper, one piece of paper, and you out. But if you have a lender, you got to sign a stack of papers about this tall.
It's not that tall.
Okay, it's this tall. And it's a lot of signing. If you got a lender, just make sure that you guys come prepared. I repeat, do not wire any money without calling the attorney first, because it's a lot of wire fraud. Do not go off no emails. Do not go off of anything until you contact the attorney yourself or contact your agent to verify that this came from the actual attorney. But never, I said, contact the attorney. Call them and verify, okay?
Yes.
On closing day, it depends on what state you are in and what county you are in. You usually get your keys, but I found out some states take weeks and months to close. So once it's recorded, that's when you get your keys. Congratulations!
Now you can go out and buy furniture.
Say what?
Yeah. Now you can go out and buy furniture.
Now go buy your furniture. Go buy your new car. Go get your fence. Go fix your house up. Do all that stuff after you get those keys in your hand. Not before. Not before. Okay? Yes. All right. And then you can order your moving truck. Don't do that before closing either.
Congratulations. You are now a homeowner.
Congratulations.
Yay. All right, you guys. We have okay, cool. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in today. For those of you guys who don't know me, my name is Jessie Lynn. I am a Triangle Realtor with A to Z Realty. You can reach me at 919-818-9854. Miss Erica.
Hey, I am Erica Batts. I'm your home loan officer with New American Funding. You can reach me at 919-608-7916, or you can reach me at ericabatts.com.
And Samantha.
I'm Samantha Harding, and you can reach me at 919-374-0260, and I'm a loan officer.
Nicole.
I am Nicole Crawford. I'm a realtor with Keller Williams Realty. I can always be reached on my cell, which is 336-457-3007.
You guys, you can always reach us in the clubhouse at www.thehomebuyersclubhouse.com.
Wait.
Find us, huh?
Wait. We didn't give ourselves a round of applause for reaching 500 people on YouTube.
Oh, snap! Yes. Look, you guys, if you guys haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please subscribe today. For all of those of you who have actually subscribed, thank you so much. We are almost at 600 subscribers. Please continue to subscribe. Invite people to the group, you guys. We're trying to change lives around here. So many people don't know anything about the home buying process. So many people don't know about building at all. We're talking about mindset, generational wealth, health, all of that. But definitely, if you're trying to buy a home, invite them. If you know somebody who's thinking about buying a home, who's renting, anybody that's renting, send them the link to our group. We have a private group, so all their info won't be out there. And we also have a page also. So you can go to the page or our group, but definitely come into our group and definitely to our YouTube channel. We appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. We've grown so much over the last year, and we really, really, really appreciate you guys. Hit that share button. Thank you. Anyway, back to what I was saying. You can reach us at www.thehomebuyersclubhouse.com. You can find us on YouTube at The Home Buyers Clubhouse, and you can also find us on Facebook in our private group and on our page at Home Buyers Clubhouse. We'll talk to you guys later. You have an awesome weekend. Bye.